Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. It seems like today we have a little bit of a special guest. My puppy really wanted to make a cameo appearance in this video. Her name is Maya, by the way. Davidita. So today's video is going to be about this little fellow going in the background, and that is Vergis, who can actually solo the Scarab King on floor 100. Like, for the sake of this rotation, he's really good on this floor, especially because his strong affinity. But honestly, it's all about his kit. He has a pretty unique kit, and you know, it's pretty awesome. And at the end of the day, even if you decide to build this champion, you're not gonna lose out, because let's say later on you get Urust, or you get somebody like a Tomb Lord or some other champions that can help you either solo this or do it faster. So guess what? If you're gonna have a 60 Vergis, guess what you can do with him? You can just specialize him for the sake of faction war. So it's not like you build this champion and you're gonna lose out for later on, because, like, you know, most of the time, the later you get into the game, the more it takes you know, the more champions you build, the better you become at certain stages, and then, you know, some champions just become useless and null for the sake of your account. But to be fair, in order to be this boss, instead of, like, you know, having blood shield accessories maybe on all of your champions, or trying to get, what's it called, trying to get a certain team to work specifically for this to be it fast, it requires a lot. So instead of building a whole team, you might be better off just building that one epic, which is Vergis, to actually solo this content. He requires a little bit of a specific build, but I don't feel like it's anything too crazy. Like, what you see running now in the background is I tried to run the second team, which was having him alongside Tranda and Hernig, just, you know, those two champions for the sake of soloing the waves, and then we're soloing, killing the waves, and then Vergis being the one that survives at the end of just fighting the boss. One team that I did try before that is, let me see if I can just show you guys this team that I was talking about. I tried to do a little bit of something. You know what? Actually, I'm not gonna play the whole thing. Let me just show you what I used before. And that was, if only I can find it. Let me see. Nope. This is what happens. See, when you actually try to search something live, so yeah, there it is. I just call it Vergis solo. So basically what I tried to do was I tried to just use the most free-to-play possible team I could, and guess what? I don't think we can get any more free-to-play than this. Am I right? You have a Haikatoon, a Gaelic, an Apothecary, and a War Maiden just to help out for the sake of the waves, and then Vergis to be the one soloing at the end. So basically, obviously, people start fighting, you know, you just do the wave with your normal builds you have on these champions. You might have them die on the waves, you might have them, you know, still be... you might have them die on the waves, you might have them, you know, survive the whole way, but it's still fine. If they do die on the waves, Vergis can still finish up the rest of the waves himself, and then he can get to the boss part. Basically, what you want to have is the champions that come alongside him, you want them to be pretty squishy. You know, you want maybe, I don't know, if you can just get 4 nukers in there, it doesn't matter if they all die. You want Vergis to be solo at the boss as much as possible, or you want the champions that survive with Vergis at the boss part to die as soon as possible, because the more they stay, the more counterattacks happen, the higher chance you have of failing, even though Vergis can actually do pretty well on his own. But as you can see, you know, like I said, I tried to use my, you know, my earliest champions that I could find on my account, because I have pretty, you know, I have pretty good champions and pretty good gear in general, but these champions kind of still have like a random gear on themselves, and then they help out with clearing the waves slowly. See, it takes like a minute, 2 minutes to do the waves because of this. But for example, if you have somebody faster, you can shave up like a minute or two. Like, for example, see, this one's finishing in around 11 minutes and a half, because I had the Tranda and the Hernig that just clear the waves like that pretty fast. But for the sake of this one, see, it took us a minute and a half to get at the boss. Then they start fighting. See, as soon as they hit, they start counterattacking. Boom, he's fine because he has the shield. We get killed. So basically, after everybody gets killed, he's the one that survives. And then he keeps going on his own and slowly keep taking it off. And it ends up being something like, what's this? 12 minutes. So basically, it does depend a little bit on the RNG of the War Master procs, but it's honestly, in my opinion, it's the easiest solo build that you can do, because it's an epic, you know? The same thing here, see, it happened 11 minutes 34 with, you know, I tried to give him cruelty with mastery, but it seems like, sorry, awakening, but it seems like the awakening at the end of the day doesn't do that much of a difference, you know? It's like, it's not, unless it was something like a Brimstone that it was a legendary, then yeah, it would be a difference. But like this, it's nothing too crazy. So, how does this champion work? Well, it's all about his, honestly, it's all about his passive. Like, places the shield buff on this champion equal to 10% of their max HP for 2 turns whenever this champion loses 10% or more of their max HP from a single hit. The boss on stage 100 hits pretty hard, so this is gonna happen most of the time. You kinda want the passive booked. Everything else, it's not necessary. If you can just get away with the passive being booked, then that's fine. Also, there's an active effect, which is like on a 1-turn cooldown. This is the one that you kind of care just for the sake of, you know, survivability and reliability. Places a 15% continuous heal on him for 2 turns whenever his HP drops below 50%. So even though he might get low, and might be like, okay, this looks scary, guess what? By having the continuous heal on himself, that makes it reliable and easy. The tricky thing with him is you need 2 things. You need a destroy set, and you need to give him resist. You could work without having resist on him, however, it might be tricky as the boss might steal the continuous heals. So, try to give him around like 330 plus resist, around 200 and 220 speed, and then survivability stats. You want about 50,000 HP and like 3.4, 3.5k defense, you know, the more survivability the better. I've crit rate on him, but that's not mandatory. I got that because that's the best I could have. I don't have any other gloves in like Immortal or Destroy, just like crit rate that were helpful for me. So I'm like, you know what? I use them. So Destroy is basically the most important one because the whole idea with the Scarab King is he has that purple bar which basically reduces your damage by 90%. So instead of doing like 100% damage, you do only 10%. The more you take down that purple shield, the more damage you do yourself. The boss has like, you know, certain thresholds. And the easiest way to deal with that is like decreasing the max HP. That's the only way to destroy that type of shield. So, you know, that's why the destroy is really good on Vergis, because you slowly take away that shield from his hits and from the War Master proc. So basically the way that I had him is take him down this tree to get him War Master plus the Life Drinker in case you need it, but because you put the continuous heal, most of the time you might not need this. I'm not 100% sure if Shield Breaker works on the Scarab, but I chose to use it just in case. And then you go down the support tree. Down the support tree you would kind of maybe want lasting gifts as well. And Spirit Haste helps you because you would take some other champions in the team that would die. And then you would gain that extra 24 speed. If you have your champions die faster and you maybe don't hit those speeds because you want to be somewhere around 250 speed after masteries and after the aura, for the sake of being like at least the same speed as the boss, so you go 1-to-1 ratio, because you cannot be too slow, as if the boss attacks you more you might get killed. So if you see you cannot hit those speeds with those survivability stats, you can take Whirlwind of Death as well instead of something here. Take Whirlwind of Death and then make sure he kills 3 things on the second wave. It might be slower, but if you only care about beating it once, then this is gonna help. Also, honestly, I'm not sure why I took Cycle of Magic, because he just does the A1 when he gets to the boss. But yeah, Spirit Haste helps, and maybe even the Lasting Gifts, like I said, help for a chance to extend that continuous heal. And, you know, I took Lord of Steel because I also have an Immortal on him. You know, Immortal is good to help you for that little bit of extra, you know, survivability and healing. Immortal gives you 15% HP and 3% heal every turn. So, you know, alongside those continuous heals that he puts after he drops under 50%, the 3% heal from Immortal can help. But yeah, this is honestly, this is a pretty straightforward build. I feel like this is the most free-to-play friendly, if you do have this champion, it's the most free-to-play friendly way to solo the Scarab King on floor 100, and it works on this rotation, it works on rotation number 3 as well. So if you only want to beat it once, Vergis is your man. He's gonna be really useful. Like I said, after that, you can, if you're gonna get somebody else to deal with the Scarab King to do it faster, you can just change him and put him in your Faction Wars team, because his kit is pretty good. Brings area protection, continuous heals, increased speed, increased defense. You know, it's pretty good. He does like AoE ally protection and increased defense on himself. The passive is good, also puts to reflect damage. So it's kind of awesome. One thing that I might try and have a look at is I want to test him out in Hydra. I want to see what he can do with this for a mischief targeting. You know, he cannot place it on himself, but he can place it on somebody else. So I want to see, is it going to be good enough to actually use him as a not as a mischief target, but to make him give the mischief target to somebody, and is the ally protection reflect enough or it's like just useless, but that's gonna be for another video. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys. I hope this was helpful. I hope this is, you know, I hope this gives you finally the way of like, yes, I can be the Scarab King because I have this champion. You just need, like I said, 2 books in here. Maybe you can get away without having this one booked. Just masteries, it's kind of mandatory to make it a little bit faster. You can do it without, but that's gonna be longer. So like, for example, if you cannot hit those stats and that high resistance, don't take War Master coming to the Unshakable. So, you know, you can hit that resist. But yeah, this is gonna be for the video today, guys. Thank you for watching. If this was helpful for you, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'm gonna see you all in the next video. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.